On Bounce. As kids head back to school, you know, it's a good time for a refresher on your responsibility as a parent, specifically from a legal perspective. Matthew Arnold of the Arnold and Smith Law Office in Charlotte is here to share advice for both parents and kids. First of all, thanks for being here. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
First time here, right?
First time.
All right. Well, now most kids are online. We know that. They got technology at their fingertips. They know how to use it. How do we spot the risks and pitfalls of being constantly connected for them?
Well, the most important thing is to pay attention. The risks these days are everywhere, with the internet being the way that it is and electronic devices being the way that they are. There are a number of things that parents can do to try to be aware of what's going on. They go all the way up through and including software that's designed to monitor the activity that your children are involved in online. Parents need to know the popular websites. They need to know what sort of predators are out there and what sorts of risks are there for the children.
So many these days, right?
They're everywhere.
Yes.
And it seems like everywhere you look, every time you read the news, there's some example of some predator or some heinous individual taking advantage of children. And it's important to talk with your kids openly about what's out there and what they need to be aware of and what they need to steer clear of. The key is to be an active, involved parent and know what's going on.
All right. Now, let's say your child does a crime like vandalism or shoplifting. Are you, as a parent, responsible for that?
Not technically are you going to be responsible criminally, but there could be civil liability in instances like that. But that's an involved area of the law, and the best thing to do, of course, is to avoid any problems like that in the first place.
I got you. We put this graphic up just a little bit late, but we're talking about, I don't know if we mentioned, teach your child about the longevity of posts that you do.
That's a great point, and I'm not of that generation where everything was posted online in real time, but I shudder to think what sorts of things might be out there if we all had access to that sort of technology when we were in high school and college.
Yes, exactly.
And the reality is that we see problems all the time where some bad picture, some bad post, or some bad story gets out there, and once it's on the internet, it doesn't go away. It's there forever. And it can come back to haunt you when you're applying for college, when you're trying to get your job, when protective fathers,
for a long time, right?
Yeah, when protective fathers are checking you out about dating their daughters and marrying their daughters, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. All right. Now, what about, this is interesting, what about if your child throws a house party while you're away? How can that get you in trouble?
Well, you know, so many things with the law are depending upon what you knew and what you permitted to have happen. The most important thing is don't be the cool parents. Don't be the ones that go buy the case of beer and have the friends over because you want them to be in a safe environment when they drink. We see so many cases come through our office that start out like that. And obviously there are good arguments for it. There are reasons why parents think they ought to do it. They'd rather have their children be exposed to alcohol and things like that in a controlled environment.
Right.
But that sort of stuff never ends well. It just doesn't. We have so many cases come through our office where parents get in deep, deep trouble because of that sort of thing.
All right, spouse, you split, you're divorced. Who's responsible in cases of something going wrong?
Well, it depends on the circumstances, obviously, and we lawyers love to say that sort of thing. I can give you a definitive, it depends.
I got you.
It depends on what happens, what the circumstances are, who knew what was going on, and that sort of thing. But generally, the person who the child is with at the time is going to be the one that the authorities are looking to first.
They're going to face the consequences.
That's right.
All right. Well, if you have more questions for Matthew Arnold, we have ways to contact his team on their website, Facebook page, and Twitter account. We'll also have a link in the web extra section of WBTV.com. Some interesting comments from you tonight. We appreciate some interesting insight as well. So Thank you very much. Good to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right. We'll be back with more news on Bounce right after this.